Hello and welcome to the Networking Partner Spotlight Show. I'm your host, Jimmy Curtin. I'm founder and CEO of Next Level Sales Performance. We help companies accelerate their sales revenue and move to the next level. So today I'd like to introduce my special guest. His name is Kerney Laday. Kerney is the CEO and founder of HRO Advisors. And with that, I'll turn it over to Kerney and let him talk a little bit about himself. Kerney?
Thank you, Jimmy, for the call today. Yes, I'm Kerney Laday with HRO Advisors. We basically are national brokers for HR, outsourcing services, payroll, benefits, workers' comp, etc. And we typically work with our customers complimentary on their behalf, and we shop the market for those services for the customer.
Super, that's great. Well, I've got a few questions I wanted to ask you today. So let me start with the first one, and maybe the most important one, I think, is in business, how do you define integrity?
So Jimmy, what we do basically is we put the customer first. So as you know, we do several different solutions for the customer, and depending upon what their needs are, we align their needs with the customer solution. And ultimately, we put the customer first when we make those suggestions.
Super, super. So looking at your company, Kerney, what do you see as the value proposition of what you guys sell?
You know, it's interesting. We ultimately sell service. That's what we sell. We've got several different products, but ultimately it is tailored services to our customers. So they, again, have a need for all of the HR services we just talked about before. Depending upon what their needs are, we advise them on which solutions, which vendor may be best for them. And again, it's totally unbiased. So it ultimately just comes down to what they need, and we just basically select the vendor that meets their needs.
Great, that makes sense. So what do you think is what is the sweet spot for your business?
We typically define that, Jimmy, by the employee headcount, and that's typically between 20 to about 300 employees.
Okay, great, great. And Kerney, what is your favorite business tool to use when you're trying to prospect? I mean, we all have to prospect in order to build our business, but what's your favorite tool?
So Jimmy, typically what we use is two methods. One is email marketing, and the other is just pick up the phone and call the customer.
Okay, great, great. And one of the key things to really building a business is staying top of the mind with your clients and your prospects. Any methods that you use to do that?
Yes, we use HubSpot is what we use. And so it allows us to keep in contact with the customer. It allows us to know exactly what the customer is doing via email. And we do that typically on a quarterly basis.
Okay, great, great. So let's talk a little bit about salespeople. So Kerney, how do you know when a salesperson's really doing a great job?
Typically, it's based upon their sales funnel. So think that quality sales prospects, ultimately that will yield customers. And ideally, a good salesperson is one who's got quality prospects and has a good close ratio.
Right. Yeah, that's so true. And having a good, strong funnel is really, really important. So last question. So what's your best advice for closing more business?
Ultimately, listen to the customer. If you follow the sales cycle from the beginning to the end, typically what I find is the customer is going to say, what's the next step? And once he or she says that, then you know you're able to convert it over to a close.
Yeah, that's a great point. And you're exactly right. Following that sales process is really so important when it comes to trying to close business. Well, listen, this has been great. I appreciate your input, and I look forward to visiting with you again sometime in the future.
Very good. Thanks for having me, Jimmy.
You bet. Thank you.